Good morning. My name is Morten Weidner. I am CEO and founder of Asiros. I have a background as a biochemist, and I have been a serial entrepreneur in the bioscience and pharmaceutical area since 1992. My first company developed and patented 8 ingredients that were taken to the international markets, and the company was eventually bought by Ferrosan in 2000 and taken over by Pfizer later, and Pfizer today selling our products globally. After that company, I started a pharmaceutical company which has recently taken 2 dermatological products to registration in the EU. And in 2007, I started Asiros together with my wife, who's a medical doctor. And what really sparked our interest in Asiros is the fact that more people die annually from cardiovascular disease than from any other cause. An estimated 17 million people died from cardiovascular disease in 2008, representing 30% of all global deaths. Now, interestingly, large population studies have shown that 600 to 800 grams of fruit and vegetables a day, the intake of that reduces the risk of cardiovascular disease by 30 to 70%. The fascinating thing is that it's really difficult to find ways of getting such a large protection. And we don't know from these studies if it's cabbage, if it's bananas, if it's berries, apples, whatever, that gives that effect. So our interest and enthusiasm came from the question, which compounds are responsible? That's really a mystery. And we have been on the path for 4 years now to solve that mystery. And I can say that we have, think we've made some groundbreaking discoveries that we can translate into very bioactive ingredients. So Asiros, we have a medical background and a pharmaceutical background, and therefore we use the tools from the pharmaceutical industry. We have an advanced R&D laboratory with chemical facilities, bioanalytical facilities, and we run our own R&D programs without external funding. I started this company together with my wife with a little bit of cash and made 2 contract research agreements. And the earnings from those agreements have enabled us to conduct our own research and make these discoveries that are now patented. We have recently proudly received a grant from the European Regional Development Fund and a Danish differentiation fund administered by Future Food Innovation, and that is a very important contribution to us at this point. So smaller molecules in plants and in berries and fruits, we consider that a treasure chamber. And the interesting thing is that less than 5% of these small molecules, also called secondary metabolites, have actually been researched. So we target to use our advanced scientific tools to find highly active compounds to create a new generation of food ingredients with the highest possible bioactivity. Our first product is called ribestinol. It's based on the discovery of new compounds where we are able to patent the structures found in certain Nordic berries. These compounds have surprising effects on specific physiological enzymes, and these effects actually enable a market-leading efficacy in dyslipidemia. In our animal studies, we've been able to obtain cholesterol-lowering effects comparable to the statins, which are state-of-the-art drugs in that area. On top of that, we have strong inhibition lowering effects on triglycerides, which are actually quite difficult to treat. Finally, we have also in our animal studies in diabetic mice seen blood glucose controlling effect. And regarding the dyslipidemia, we have on a case basis in patients seen with 4 weeks of treatment with ribestinol, we've been able to obtain 20 to 30% reduction of LDL, the bad cholesterol, and triglycerides, which is quite impressive for a food ingredient. And I have to emphasize, this is without any doubt a food, because we've maintained the product in the form of an extract of the berries. So at regulatory will be a berry extract, but we have of course enhanced the content of our patented active compounds and standardized the content of that. We'll return to that in a moment. Now the heart health market. This figure shows the market share of different types of ingredients. And we can see that the cholesterol-lowering ingredients, they dominate, accounting for $4.2 billion in sales in these major markets. Now, this large sale, of course, comes from a large end consumer interest. Americans were in a large survey asked what their top 3 health concerns were, and cardiovascular disease came out as the top consumer concern, worrying 46% of the consumers, dictating what they choose to put into their basket when they buy. Interestingly, this study done by data miners also concluded that heart health products, they are underrepresented relative to the interests, and that indicates a large market potential and also a potential for better products. And we'll come to that because looking at the competitive situation, there are a lot of products out there. It's a very, very competitive area. It's things like phytosterols, omega-3 fatty acids, soy proteins, various plant fibers like beta-glucans. And what I can say is that all of these are characterized by a very, very modest effect. With cholesterol lowering, it's typically in the range of 5 to 10% lowering effect. And of course, you can see right away that our competitive edge comes from our unique mechanism of action. No other products on the market has that efficacy. The market-leading efficacy, if we can be in between the drugs, the statins will in clinical practice give 30 to 50% reduction of cholesterol. If the competitors give 5 to 10% lowering effect, we are in an optimal spot with 20 to 30% lowering effect. Berry extracts are perceived as healthy and kind of lock into the general perception that vegetables and fruits are good for the heart health. So that's appealing to the consumer. We have a dual indication with heart health and the potential to regulate blood sugar. Interestingly, these two are risk factors in relation to obesity. And we see obesity as a major target market as well in the future. In addition, we have exclusivity through patent protection. I have a pending patent covering the compounds, the uses, and of course the method of manufacture. The value chain, very, very briefly. We have chosen to control the berry production simply by checking the quality and finding out what is essential for the extraction process and getting the optimal content in the extract. It is our aim to maintain the production of the extracts and control that in the beginning together with contract manufacturing partners, but also have our own manufacturing facility in the future. Finally, of course, the finished product and the manufacturing and sales of that will be conducted by partners. Our business model, well, it's really a business-to-business model, I would say. We have a strong network in the pharmaceutical industry. Most pharma companies have a consumer health division selling OTC products and also consumer products, and they have a strong and increasing interest in functional foods. We have good contacts there, and there seems to be a really good match because these types of companies appreciate the strong science, the mechanism of action, and the pharmaceutical-like high level of documentation. But of course, we don't want to exclude anyone. We'll also talk to yogurt manufacturers and whatever. I see that there are no limitations really in which type of formulations this can be applied to. So our go-to-market strategy is really 2 steps. We want to have close partners which get time-limited regional exclusivity, where they have their own finished product brand, but they are obliged to promote our ingredient brand. This is a strategy I've tried before successfully. That stage will build up the credibility of our brand and our ingredients. When the exclusivity runs out after a couple of years, typically, then we can distribute broader to multiple players within the region. The first mover will have the advantage of their investment, but we will have the advantage of the awareness of the product and the gain in volumes you will have in step 2. Finally, investment partnering and interest. We're screening for industrial partners and regional distributors at the moment. And we're also open to explore the possibility to accelerate the pre-market development through venture funding. But that is not necessary for us, but it could be feasible, and therefore we're open for discussions. Thank you.